Bruno last week, Roy, said that he wanted to speak to you. Have you had a chat with him or what?
Did you have a chat with Bruno?
Have you apologised? Has Roy Keane said sorry?
I said,
no,
if he feels like he's done something, he'll say something.
No, I think there was a reaction to what we said after the podcast a few weeks ago. And he reached out to me, wanted to chat. And you know what? I did. I called him and we had a lovely chat.
It was a nice chat?
Lovely chat about a bit of everything, really. But it was nice because, again, when we do podcasts or games, sometimes you think you say something afterwards, you're trying to communicate something that doesn't come across properly. Yes. And people get upset, and he wanted to speak to me. And we had a nice, mature conversation.
Nice one.
It was lovely.
Well, that's
a lovely chat.
That's nice to hear.
He apologised, and we moved on.
So apparently, Roy Keane and Bruno Fernandes have had a phone call and have discussed, and they probably apologized to each other for things said, and probably like adults handle business. And I just have to say that people that were picking sides, oh, Roy Keane is our legend or something like that, and people that were picking, oh, Bruno Fernandes is our current captain, they must feel really and look really stupid right now, wouldn't they? Because they picked sides when they weren't really sides to be picked. It wasn't. Bruno Fernandes have been treated like he's the reason why Manchester United are where they are today, which in some cases they are. He's the reason why we qualified for Europe. He's the reason why we didn't get relegated last season. If you look back at the kind of season he had last season and this season, he's the reason why we didn't get relegated last season, and it's the reason why we played amazingly this season, and we have Champions League football at the end of the day. But people still complain about the current state of Manchester United and the way we play. It's not his fault about the quality of players that he has around him. It's not his fault when he was the one making passes to Garnacho and Rashford and they couldn't finish their own dinner. It wasn't his fault. It was his job that he was doing. And he was complaining. And people be like, oh, why was he complaining? He's too emotional. He's too reactive. Of course he was. If you were playing around people that are not on the same level as you are, when the standard is not high enough and you don't see them putting the same amount of effort that you're putting in, of course you'll be pissed about it. You'll be angry about the way it is. You would not be excited about it. So of course it's normal that he's reacting like that to the way the players around him were playing. Of course he's reacting like that to the way the situation around him, around the club was. And I'm even surprised that he even stayed this long at the club because with the kind of quality he had. If he's playing for a Real Madrid, if he's playing for a Man City, it would probably be in the shout for, Ballon d'Or or something like that because of the kind of quality that he's bringing to a team that is not up to his standards, if we have been fair. It's not his fault that the board have decided to spend money on players that are not, up to the same standards of quality that he has. And this season you've seen the difference with the likes of Kunyam Buemo coming in and Sechko towards the end. And Lamens also in goal, it's been better. It's been better this season. But also, can you really compare them to when he was playing with Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony, and we against Sancho, Onana in goal? Was it the same? It wasn't the same. Højlund as the attacker, and it doesn't mean that Højlund is bad. It just means that Højlund didn't work out at Manchester United. And then when the coach was playing him in a deeper role, it didn't make sense. So of course he's had his frustrations, but he has stayed true to Manchester United throughout this time. Can we really say the same about Roy Keane? Roy Keane was also a hothead. Roy Keane wasn't really that kind of a player that was calm also himself. He was a hothead. The only difference is that there's social media now, and there's a lot of ex players that just seem to be United business these days, isn't it? Like I appreciate something about United ex players, and it's like they always have a way to keep in touch and be together and hang around each other, which is good for footballers, especially when you have attained the level of playing fame after that. And then it just feels like you probably are alone, and yeah, it could be lonely afterwards, but then they seem to have this unity among themselves and the hunger. You don't see many players of many different clubs around the world do the same thing. It's always different with United players, and I appreciate that for them. But then they always just seem to have something to say about Manchester United, and they always just seem to have something bad to say a lot of times, like Roy Keane lately. And yeah, there's not been anything that good about Manchester United going on lately, but it always just seems to feel like they have this feeling that they have done the impossible for United, which they've done a lot of things for United. I'm not saying they have, but they seem to feel like because they've done the impossible for United, they can have a go at every single player that is playing for the club now. And I'm just thinking, other clubs don't have this, and it's probably helping them with their success. There's a difference between criticizing someone and giving them advice or something like that. There's a difference between that, and there's a difference even when you're criticizing someone. There's a difference when you're like trying to explain to them what they are doing, not criticizing them in a way where they can be better, and just criticizing them out of hatred or out of hate or out of lack of love or something like that. And I feel like that is what I get from a lot of ex-players like Roy Keane. Like the post he made about Bruno, it was unnecessary, was it? It was unnecessary. Why would you do that? Yeah, at a certain age in life, at a certain level of maturity, some things you should let slide. Some things some young players will say, or some players will say, and you just be like, you know what? He should be the one. Roy Keane should be the one to be like, yo, let me talk to him. No, you're a captain. You led Manchester United to one of their best times also, but you also played with probably the best players that were around in the league at the point. Bruno is not the same. It's not the same. Like, you can put our 11 side by side with the top 5 in the league, and we will probably only get 2 players in there, maybe 1, maybe just Bruno, and that's it. Yeah, let's be honest. You put the top 5 in the league, you do a starting 11, best 11 of the top 5 in the league, and Bruno probably the only one that gets in there. So it's baffling that when the quality of the players in the club is not that level of Bruno is, and it seems to be the only one that cares enough to put that kind of effort in. I'm not saying the others don't care. No, I'm not saying they don't care, but it just seems to show that in the way he does it, with his passion, and with the way he plays, with the kind of amount of assists he makes. And then for you to be going at him like that as a captain of the club, when you Roy Keane, and I mean Gary Neville and the likes of them, they never said anything about the Glaziers or the owners or the board or the kind of transfers they make. They never go against the club. They never do. But they always seem to find the players easy target. I don't think it makes it. I don't think it's in the best interest of the club. A lot of things that these ex-players say, I don't think so. I don't think they care enough about the club anymore. Like, I mean, Roy Keane even said it. He said he's not a United fan. He said he was just a player and that was it. He said he's not a fan. So obviously he's not, because of the way he talks about United. But at the same time, you have to, we as United fan have to think about it as, they don't really care about us now, do they? They don't care about the club. They just care about making their money and moving on. So they would go against a player. They would go against the captain that has just had probably his best season. And so that is the kind of drama that you want to bring in when the players had his best season. Like, are you jealous because you couldn't accomplish something like that? Or what exactly is it? And when the Glazers have been, the way they have been running the club, you as an ex-player has never said anything about it. You never said anything about the way the club has been run. You never said anything about the transfers that have been made. You never said anything about things that have been done in the club that have not been right. But then a player is what you decide to go against, to go for. Like, come on, man. You don't need to. But anyway, at the end of the day, I'm happy that they found a way to resolve it, talk about it like Hardos, because, even though as Hardos we can like each other and still sometimes say the hard truths, but this one I don't think it was the truth. I just think it was pure out of jealousy or hatred. But still, then we should be able to resolve it amicably and everyone can move on and have a good life. So hopefully come next season, Bruno is still firing, assists, goals, and Roy Keane is, learning to keep his mouth shut, I guess. But I guess that's never gonna happen now. We can only wish and dream. We can only wish and dream. But let me know what you think about the fight anyway. Well, it wasn't really a fight, but about the disagreement between the both of them. Then what you think about Roy Keane's stance on it? What you think about Bruno's his backlash over it? Bruno was respectful with the way he spoke about it, though. But Roy Keane was a bit disrespectful, And, they do say respect is reciprocal, but with the way Roy Keane handled it, it lacked class, It wasn't classy at all. But hey, what do I know about class?